Hello, everyone. It's Fred Staub and Les Jackson. We are here and we are getting prepped for a great hour of interesting automotive stories, including more assembly line shutdowns, Les. It keeps happening because of the chip shortage, doesn't it?
Yeah, this is really very troubling.
Yeah.
I know everybody's beginning to be affected by this and shortages of stuff. For me, it's table cream,
Table
which
cream.
doesn't sound important.
What the heck is
but
table cream?
light cream for my coffee. I insist on having light cream for my coffee.
Okay, I thought it was some kind of wax for your table, but
No.
yeah, and then Kia is building a new vehicle, the Forte. Yes, it's a sedan, and of course, it's got a great interior because it's a Kia. They got a lot of stuff going on there. We'll tell you about that.
Yep.
If you own an Infiniti, we've got a free upgrade for you. Free, as in no cost. We'll tell you about how you can get that.
Free is good.
Free is good. And then here's something you never thought you needed in a vehicle, Les, but maybe you do. It's our Talking Tech segment. It is a retractable exhaust. So we'll talk about why you might need that. And then there is a very cool program by Ford called Driving Skills for Life. We're going to talk with Nolan Katterberg, who is the program manager, about how this training program could save your child's life. Really good training program. And it's a way to experience some things in vehicles before you actually have to experience them in a uncontrolled
very important
environment.
Very important.
And
parents need to be aware of this.
I believe this is National Teen Driver Safety Month, so we'll ask Nolan about that when he comes on a little bit later on. But it's all coming up on Cruise Control. We will be right back, so stay tuned. We are live. If you have a comment or a question, make sure you throw it into either our Facebook feed, Cruise Control Radio Facebook feed, or the Cruise Control Radio YouTube page. You got an idea for a guest or a topic we should cover or a vehicle you'd like us to review, let us know. We will be right back.
Well,
Hey, we're coming up with that story about Audi and some other manufacturers, Audi and Ford, stopping production due to chips. So stay tuned. And we're also going to be talking a little bit later on about Driving Skills for Life, which is a great program from the folks at Ford. So stay tuned to Cruise Control. We'll be right back.
Cruise Control.
And welcome back to Cruise Control, your on-air automotive magazine. Fred Staub and Les Jackson with you. We love to bring you the latest news from the world of automobilia. Is that a word, Les?
automobilia is in fact a word,
All right.
and there's lots of it.
Okay, so we've got a lot to talk about. And, of course, we're starting to sound like a broken record. Can't even say a broken CD or record anymore. Maybe a broken MP3. How's that?
That's good.
That's good? All right. Well, we're talking about chips. This week, Audi did something. They stopped building cars at 2 of their plants because guess why, Les?
Gee, I wonder if it has to do with chips.
Yes, and this is the factory line that contains lines for A3, A4, A5, and the Q2. Q2 I don't think we get here, do we? I don't
No,
know.
we don't get the Q2.
Yeah,
That's the factory in Neckarsulm.
Neckarsulm. Yeah,
Neckarsulm in Germany, of course.
yeah. And this report comes from Automobile Walk, which I think means automobile world. I'm not sure. But anyway.
I think you're right, yeah.
Or is that Welt? Welt might be world. Anyway, let's get back to cars. They don't expect the Audi's German factory problems aren't expected to clear up anytime soon. The chip crisis is very much active at this point, and they feel that there won't be relief till sometime in the middle of 2022. Now, look at this. Ford just stops also this week production of the Maverick, the compact pickup truck that they just brought out, and the Bronco Sport, a very hot vehicle that people really want. They had to suspend their production at their plant in Mexico for both of these vehicles because guess what? Chips.
Man. And, we can't, I get emails from people who say, well, why can't we just build new chip factories and get them up? Well, we can, but it takes years
They are
to build a
building
chip factory.
too. Fab 1 and Fab 2, I believe they call them. Intel is, I think, in Nevada, but as you say, they take years. You gotta
Yeah,
plan for that. You can't just say, "Hey, I'll build one tomorrow." And those plants, who knows when they'll be online? A year, 2 years, who knows?
yeah. Well, probably 2 years. But the good news is once they're up, we'll be producing uh, more and more chips in the U.S.
That's right. There's a company called Global Foundries. It's a U.S. chip maker, and it will double its production in the future, but it will require expanding its production facility. They're going to double its production in 2021, but the increase will only really take impact in 2023. So whatever they're doing now, Les, is for the future. I mean, we can't
Right.
depend on Taiwan to build our chips because we don't know what's going to happen there. And
Well, it's clear that the world can't depend on any one or two places to build chips. This is the requirement is just too great. And when you build a chip plant, I've been in them. They just the actual production of the chips requires class 100 clean rooms. That's cleaner than an operating room,
wow,
much cleaner.
because a hair
And
would be like almost
oh,
as
it's
wide as the chip.
exactly just a fleck of dust. So to build that sort of thing, it just takes, well, years.
Yeah, yeah. And you wonder why this hasn't happened sooner. Why manufacturers haven't said, "Hey, this is a single point of failure. You can never have a single point of failure, or like one source to buy a bolt from, because guess what happens? Oh, their plant burned down. Oh, they went bankrupt. Oh well." So
Yeah.
you wonder how they let this go on for so long, right?
Well, again, it was the perfect storm of 5G, which just the demand
Is
building
huge.
phones and all of that went crazy
Yep.
overnight.
Yep.
And then that combined with the China issues with the Huawei company,
Yeah. And
uh, it just all happened at the wrong time.
And let's remember, too, chips are being put into more and more things. Things are becoming the
Everything.
Internet of Things, thermostats, everything else that was once a simple on off switch is now loaded with chips. So, hey,
That brings, let me ask you a question.
well, we might have to take it after the break.
We'll do it after the
Stand
break.
by with that. We'll be back with more cruise control. We're also going to tell you about the brand new Kia Forte. So stay tuned.
Some of the
Cruise Control.
Hey, welcome back to Cruise Control. Les and Fred at the wheel. Well, the desk.
The desk has
that's
wheels.
okay.
Yeah.
Well, it's very hard, to talk on the internet while you're driving.
Yeah, that's true. We're
And
actually
it's not safe.
we're gonna talk about distracted driving later on in the show. Driving skills
right.
for life from Ford. Got Nolan Katterberg, who is the program manager, coming up for that.
For teens. And
Yeah.
speaking of teens, I
Weren't
think an
you going to ask me a
ideal car.
question? Weren't you going to ask me a question before we left?
Oh, I was going to ask you your opinion on chips. Is it about time that we start getting everybody in the country to vote on what products can we just stop building that we don't need right now, and use those chips? I nominate stationary exercise bikes because only about 4 of them in the entire United States are actually used.
That might be a little low, the estimate, but
Okay, 6.
all right. I know a lot of people hang clothes on them and or whatever they,
Yeah.
Yeah. So maybe you could offer a just like a feel-good model where it doesn't have
Like-
any internal parts.
Like a manual one, like they used to be.
a hand-cranked one. Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, let's get to Kia Forte, shall we?
which is a great vehicle for a teenager.
Oh yeah, I think it's a great vehicle for teen. Who wouldn't want like this at as your first car? It is a compact sedan, Les Jackson, with new front and rear design elements. You can get a 10.25-inch widescreen navigation display, smart cruise control, all the safety features, and they have a model called the FE that achieves up to 41 miles per gallon.
Wow.
Which
That's-
is crazy, right?
Better start thinking about that.
Yeah. Well, if you filled up and notice the gas is 42% more expensive than last year, then you will agree. Look at this. Wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto now standard on FE and LXS. 25-inch wide touchscreen. Oh, is that? No, I think that's 10.25. 25.
10-inch wide.
Yeah. And center console with newly available integrated electronic parking brake, available rear US charger, which I haven't seen. I don't know whether it's a wireless charger, but that's pretty cool. The FE and the LXS and GT line get this 2-liter engine. You can get a 147 horsepower, 132 pound-feet of torque engine in the FE. And then you can also get a turbocharged 1.6-liter engine. And that's the one that has, I believe, 200 horsepower, 200-plus horsepower in the turbo.
Yeah, that's impressive.
Yeah, out of a 1.6-liter engine. That's really good. The interior on these things, always great for Kia. They have a lot of features. They have, this is a trend I'm seeing a lot. They have something called Syntex synthetic leather seating. I've seen this a lot. Toyota does this. Of course, Volkswagen has done this for a long time. It seems like a trend, though, in the industry. Less expensive, and if you're a vegan person that does not feel comfortable with leather seats.
And very robust, lasts forever.
Yeah. So completely available with advanced navigation-based smart cruise control curve, available navigation-based smart cruise control, leverages navigation system to lower the vehicle speed proactively to adapt to changing speed limits on the highway. So it will automatically lower your vehicle's speed. That's amazing. And available safe exit warning can alert the driver or passengers of certain potential hazards approaching from behind when exiting the vehicle, like opening your door and there's a bicycle. Really, really good stuff. And we don't know the pricing, but it's not going to be a super expensive car, is it?
No, it's low 20s, right?
I would imagine. We don't have pricing on it yet. But it is, yeah, wouldn't that make a great first car?
It would. I know that the teenager probably wants, you know, a lift kit Ram truck, or or a Corvette. But you know, most of us have to be pretty practical.
Well, I think also you want a reliable car that's got some nice
Yeah,
features, some of the updated safety features, navigation. I think navigation would be great in a sense that you're getting used to driving. You don't need to try to figure out where I need to go and make wrong turns. So
true.
if I was just starting out driving and someone said, "Here's a brand new Kia Forte," I would be happy.
I would be very happy.
Well, we told you about wireless Apple CarPlay being available in the Kia Forte. Now, if you have an Infiniti, there's a complimentary wireless Apple CarPlay upgrade available for most 2020 and 2021 Infiniti vehicles. The free update can be completed at Infiniti retailers, and it's available for 2020 and 2021 Q50 sport sedans, Q60 sport coupe, QX50 midsize crossover, and the QX80 full-size luxury SUV. It is only for Apple CarPlay, not Android Auto. But I think that's a pretty cool upgrade, and I think it's worth getting. I think it's worth going to the dealer for, don't you?
Sure. I guess it's just a software upgrade.
Yeah, I guess they cannot do it over the air, but they say to locate your nearest Infiniti dealer and schedule the update today. So if you have one of those vehicles that I mentioned, check it out. Why not? Get a free upgrade. That's a great idea. Want to talk a little tech, Les?
Sounds good.
Now, this is something I know you've been asking for, and here it is. Ford has invented a retractable exhaust system, and the idea is it will improve your off-road capability. I would imagine that's
Okay.
the departure angle, right? So if your tailpipe's
Yeah.
sticking out and you don't want it scraping, this would retract it, sort of like they say, sort of like a turtle, the way a turtle retracts its head. This would retract it and would allow a little bit more clearance. This was discovered, the patent, by Carbuzz, and it was filed in both Germany and the U.S., and that means the invention might be fitted to some vehicles globally. It basically retracts an extended portion of the pipe, allowing for more clearance when you go off-roading. Probably not needed for a vehicle that never goes off-road,
No.
but it is certainly an interesting situation. I love how it is wonderfully engineered with pipe extension shafts, a rack and pinion system to move it back and forth.
Yeah, it's pretty complex. It's got a worm drive motor that
Yeah.
extends it out.
I mean, let's face it, when they make these things, they can't have it failing because they don't want to go back to the dealer.
No.
This thing needs to last 100,000 miles. I bet it would be expensive to replace, though, if someone ran into the back of your
Bet it
vehicle
would.
and crunched it. Don't you think?
And if you go off road, do you have to remember to retract it, or will it do that itself?
Oh, nowadays with all the sensors, and if your vehicle can slow down when it senses a curve coming up due to GPS, I wonder if it has a sensor to retract it. Because, what's the point of having it if you forget to retract it and it gets
That's
balled
right.
up? Because you would have been better with the regular pipe and you just bend it straight. But, hey, when we come back, we're going to tell you about a great program. It's put together by Ford, and it is called Driving Skills for Life. We're going to talk to Nolan Katterberg, who's the program manager, about this program. Deals with things like distracted driving and all sorts of skills. So stay tuned.
Cruise Control.
And welcome back to Cruise Control, your on-air automotive magazine. Fred Staub and Les Jackson here, and we have been joined by a very important person that does a great service, I think, to new drivers and for parents too. Driving Skills for Life is the name of the program from Ford, and Nolan Katterberg, who is the head of the program, joins us. Nolan, what are you sitting in there?
I'm actually sitting in a Ford Ranger here. I'm out in Smyrna, Tennessee, just south of Nashville. We have one of our hands-on programs going on actually this weekend. So I'm joining you live from the road today.
Oh, that's great. We like that when that happens. Well, let's talk about the program. What is it and how did it get started?
Yeah, so the Ford Driving Skills for Life program was started back in 2003. So it's really a step in the learning process for teens. What we did is we found a lot of research, and it was teens lack experience in key areas. So that's what we focus on. It's totally free. It's put on by the Ford Motor Company Fund, which is the philanthropic arm of Ford Motor Company. And we focus on things like vehicle handling. What happens if you lose control of the vehicle? How do you gain control of it? Speeding issues, spacing issues, recognizing hazards. And then we talk about things parents and teens should not do, like distracted driving, impaired driving. It's a totally free program. And again, it's part of a national tour. We go all over the country. We put teens behind the wheel. We expect them to have driving experience before they come out. But really, it's all about giving them experience beyond what they actually learn in driver's education.
Now, when we're going to get into how you do this program, but like this morning when you started the program and you got the teenagers there, do you sit them down and explain some fundamentals like oversteer, understeer, trailing throttle oversteer, which of course they don't understand because they've never experienced anything like this. Do they really pay attention when you're talking about this?
Yeah, so, it's interesting because as we travel across the country, we really find that the parents are the ones who sign the teens up. As a teenager, they think they know everything, right? They don't need any training. They went through driver's ed. They're great. But if you look at the statistics, unfortunately, the leading cause of death of teenagers is vehicle crashes. So we do go over the various vehicle dynamics, weight transfers. We talk a lot about contact patches. We actually put them in a course that simulates oversteer situation or a rear wheel slide, simulating ice and snow. They're going to fail at the course at first, but again, it's in a closed course. If you're going to fail, we want you to do it here before you have something happen on the road, and hopefully you make the right decisions. So yes, we do talk a lot about vehicle dynamics. It is an advanced driving course, so it's not rules of the road or turn signals, that type of stuff. We put them in cars with professional driving instructors. A lot of our instructors come from the high performance driving schools like our Ford Racing School, that type of stuff. So it's all about giving the teens experience beyond what they learned in driver's education.
Yeah, it's just like you think of an airline pilot. You wouldn't say, well, if an engine ever goes out, there's that procedure. You would go to a simulator and try to learn and experience it before, when you can do it in a controlled environment. And that's what you're doing here. I noticed that you talk about a lot about distracted driving. And is it a surprise to teenagers that if you look down at your phone for a few seconds, your vehicle has traveled a tremendous distance and might be off in a ditch or you might be, into the back of someone else's car? Is that a surprise to them that this can happen so quickly when you're driving?
Yeah, absolutely. And we actually put the teens on a course. It's a tightly coned course, and we have them go through it, show them that if they're texting and driving, guess what? They're not able to see things in front of them. They're going to hit cones, or they're going to go so slow that you can walk faster than you're going. So really, you can't do two things at once. We tell them, just drive. You're a newly licensed driver. Everybody out there should not be driving distracted, but especially if you're a newly licensed driver. You don't have the experience. You mix distracted driving or speeding, and it's a recipe for disaster. Again, the leading cause of death of teenagers is vehicle crashes. We don't want to see that at all, and we want them to get good habits when they're young so that hopefully when they get older, they won't be driving distracted and making the wrong decisions.
Okay. Here comes the question, Nolan. In your experience, are females easier to teach than the males?
Yeah,
Or
so
vice
versa?
that's a good question. So if you look at statistics, males are more likely to be in a crash. And really what we found is you got to kind of look at it both sides. So males might be overconfident. We might need to bring that down a little bit. And females might be a little underconfident. So we have to bring that up a little bit. So our instructors do a great job working with both of them, not only, giving them the experience, but making it tailored exactly to what they need to learn. And again, I think everybody can learn something. We even put the parents to the course and they get a chance to go through it and learn. And really, learning to drive successfully is a lifelong learning process. You always can continue to practice and make the right decisions out there.
Yeah, it's interesting what Les brought up there. I've gone through some different racing schools, and a lot of the instructors said women will listen more because guys say, I know how to drive. I don't need anyone to show me how to do it, instead of saying that. But yeah, being an underconfident driver is a problem too, and that can lead to crashes if somebody's very hesitant about going through an intersection correctly or getting on a highway or something like that.
Yeah, absolutely. We always kind of joke around with the teens. Women tend to have common sense, right? So they're able to make the right decisions. Teenage males, a lot of times, just do things to impress teens, to do make friends, that type of stuff. And really, they need to be thinking about their decisions behind the wheel.
Now, I saw in one of the B-roll videos that it appears as though you're putting a virtual mask on them to, I guess, simulate being drunk.
Yeah, so that simulates impairment. We actually put them in a course. We'll have a police officer sitting next to them and show them what it's like to be impaired. Hopefully, they will never drive impaired, get behind the wheel with somebody who is impaired. But again, it's all a simulation to show them what it's like, and they have to make the right decisions. If you look across the United States, 94% of crashes are due to human error. We call them crashes instead of accidents because they can be avoided. And that's what we're all about, giving them experience, and hopefully they'll make the right decisions.
Yeah. I guess you have them walking the line and experiencing what that would be like, which would be a bad experience. And where the person would say, hey, did I pass the test? And they'd be like, no. Yes, you passed. You get to join us in a police car. That's your reward. Yeah.
So we're fortunate. Our program is global. We're in 46 countries outside the U.S. And we've actually developed some suits over in Germany, working with an institute over there to simulate impairment of alcohol and drugs. So we actually put those suits on the students. It's beyond just your vision. There's weights that throw your balance off. And really, it's all about giving them experience, and hopefully they'll learn that you definitely do not want to be riding with anybody or driving if you're impaired at all. Again, you got to make the right decisions out there.
Yeah. Do you go? Go ahead, Les.
You probably have some teenagers who really take to this and are fascinated with the science and the physics working on the cars, and do really well in this program. But I assume that's a pretty small number.
Yeah, so there's, some teens are in a different place than other ones, as far as driving with their experience and what they learn. But again, it's really all about giving everybody more experience behind the wheel in a closed environment, a safe environment. If, like we said earlier, if you're going to fail at driving, we want it to be in a closed environment, not when you're on the road and there's consequences out there. So again, it's a great program. We're very fortunate to be able to go across the country, put on the program totally free. If you're a listener out there, you can join our notification list. We have stops coming up the remainder of this year. Usually we'll do about 15 to 20 hands-on programs all across the country. If you go to our website, drivingskillsforlife.com, on there you'll find all the information, along with resources, online resources. You can go through our academy, which is our online learning. Again, it's all about giving free resources to teens and parents.
Yeah, this is great. We're talking with Nolan Katterberg, who is the program manager for Driving Skills for Life great program put on by Ford. Nolan's going to stick with us. He'll talk a little bit more about the program after the break. But I would say, Nolan, right before the break, what was the biggest mistake some of your students make when they're just starting to learn in the program?
So I would say probably the biggest mistake they're gonna make is not realizing how fast a car goes. There's speeding and spacing issues.
Mm-hmm.
Teens really have a hard time figuring out the spacing of vehicles, and speeding is a huge issue. Looking over the pandemic over the last year, it's really been an issue with speeding. We've seen a lot of people speeding.
People have been driving way over the top for sure. All right, Nolan's going to be back with us right after the break, so stay tuned to Cruise Control. Don't forget to check us out at cruisecontrolradio.com. You can link over to our Facebook page, Twitter feed, all that and more. We'll be right back.
Cruise Control.
And welcome back to Cruise Control, your on-air automotive magazine. We're talking about driving skills for life. It's a great program put on by Ford. Nolan Katterberg is ready to go. He's the guy in charge of the program. He's sitting in a Ford Ranger in Tennessee, and he's getting ready for his class. How many teens go through the class, Nolan, in a typical class?
Yeah, so a typical weekend, we'll put over 400 parents and teens through the program.
Wow.
So we have 4 sessions on a weekend. This morning, we're sitting here. We kicked off our first session. We do 2 sessions on Saturday and 2 on Sunday.
How do you tell people to deal with aggressive drivers? I mean, I found that even beyond speeding nowadays, people cut in and out. They're racing each other. They leave about a foot from your front bumper, and it's pretty scary because, they'll come up, and if you're not paying attention and you speed up a little bit or slow down as you naturally would, that's probably one of the scariest things I've seen develop over the last few years. So how do you talk to your students about that?
Yeah, so obviously with driving, you need to keep a cool head, right? Don't let other people's actions affect you. The worst thing you can do is try to, get back at them or those type of things. Really, you got to keep your cool, give them space. Obviously, there's people out there who are going to make the wrong decisions. They're going to tailgate, they're going to speed, they're going to cut you off, etc. We don't know what they're doing out there. They might be having a bad day. They might be just horrible drivers, right? But again, if you're in control of your vehicle, control your vehicle. Make sure you stay out of the way of those people. They're going to make the wrong decisions, but hopefully you don't make the wrong decision.
And do you find a lot of them habitually tailgate? I of course, always pay attention to driving skills when I'm driving, as you do, I'm sure. And a huge percentage of people tailgate. And I've actually interviewed people, especially women, young women, and they say they feel more secure
closer to the other car. Yeah.
Yes. And of course, you try to explain the laws of physics here, but
yeah,
what do you teach them about tailgating?
Yeah. So obviously, if you're following way too close, you're tailgating, something's going to happen in front of you. They might slam on their brakes, and guess what? You don't have near enough space in between you. You need a minimum of 3 seconds. And in an expressway, you're going to need even more time in between you because you're going at a faster speed. So tailgating is a sure recipe to get an a fender bender and a wreck. And that's something, we don't want to see at all. So make sure you get plenty of space. Yeah. Even if you're trying to get to somewhere fast, people think I'm only going a few miles an hour over the speed limit. I'm going to get there quicker. Really, it's not safe. You need to slow down, make the right decisions out there.
I know someone's tailgating if I see them, but I don't see their taillights. It's so close that I can't see their taillights in my rearview mirror. And I find it happens a lot. And no matter, I don't know what it is. They're in a rush. Maybe they feel secure that they pull up to the bumper there, but I don't know. It is something that, I don't like to see, and it's unsettling. We were talking during the break, Nolan. Les had a great question about reaction times. You have a reaction timer that you use in the Driving Skills for Life program. Talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, so a lot of teens don't realize, just how their reaction time at different speeds can affect them. So we actually have a device that we put them through. It's called a reaction timer. There's a gas pedal and a brake pedal. What you do is you get on the gas pedal, you hold the gas down. There's a light that is blinking in front of you. Once it goes solid, the goal is to go to the brake as quick as you can. And it measures how long it actually took you, not only to react, but also hit the brake. And we can dial this machine in based on your speed, on weather conditions. And it's really about showing the teens how much time it actually takes to stop a vehicle. So we'll have them do that, the reaction timer without any distractions. And then guess what? We'll have them get their phone out and text a coherent message. It might be something like, I don't know, the Pledge of Allegiance or something that. And first off, they'll say the Pledge of Allegiance. What's that? But again, it's all about showing them what can happen. We hope they don't drive distracted, but reaction times are very important, especially when you're driving a vehicle.
Yeah.
How surprised are they when they find out, that they're not anywhere near as fast as they think they are reacting?
So, it's interesting because the first couple kids will get in there and then it turns into a game. See who can be the quickest one out there.
Yep.
But again, if they're distracted, they're going to be extremely slow on the reaction times. They're not going to be able to react to something in front of them. And that's really the whole purpose of the program, is to give them experience and make sure they make the right decisions.
Yeah. You also do some fun with skids, which I think, you have to learn that before you get into a skid, because once you're into a skid, that's it. Talk a little bit about that. You have like a skid car that takes them out on skid pad and kind of lets them experience that and what they should do before they're driving on ice or something, and then they're trying to figure it out,
Right.
in the middle of it.
We have a vehicle handling course, and for that course, it's probably the favorite course for the teens because they get to drive a brand new Mustang.
Sure, who wouldn't want to do that?
It's fun for them, but these Mustangs have casters on the back, and what these do is lift up the rear end of the vehicle, reducing traction. So what they'll do is go around a tightly coned oval course, and as they're going around the course, the rear wheel of the cars are going to begin to slide. So there's a lot of dynamics in vehicles when you're losing control. The main thing we tell them is look where you want the car to go. A lot of teens and even adults don't realize that. What they'll do is they'll get target fixated on something and they'll drive directly into it. You'll hear of like a car going off the road and it hitting a telephone pole.
Mm-hmm.
And what happened there was they probably lost control of the vehicle. They looked exactly at what they did not want to hit. And guess what? They did an excellent job controlling that vehicle directly into that.
Steering right.
So it's
into
really
it.
look into where you want to go, turn into the slide, don't hit the brakes. A lot of teens have never experienced losing control of a vehicle before. That's why we want them to do it on this closed course. They'll kind of panic and really you got to stay calm, look where you want to go, turn into the slide, take your foot off the gas, whatever got you into that situation. Ease off the gas. Don't just slam on the brakes. So it's really all about giving them experience.
Yeah.
Who does better, the parents or the kids?
It probably depends on the parent and the kids. Sometimes the teens are a little bit better than the parents. The parents have been driving and have bad habits maybe, and we got to correct those. A lifetime of bad habits is harder to correct than a teen who's only been doing it for a little while. But again, it's really all about giving them experience, and we're very fortunate to be able to do it.
Yeah. Do you talk about other things like, I see folks with really loud music systems going. To me, that would be one of the most distracting things to do that. Or I know some states actually limit the amount of people that can be in a new driver's car, which I think is good because even that's all distracted driving too, just like using a phone.
Yeah, absolutely. If you look at the research, additional passengers increase the likelihood about 2 times of a teen getting in a crash. So additional passengers is a huge issue. You mentioned the radio. Teens love listening to the radio. And again, it's something that can definitely be a distraction. We've even seen people who put earbuds in their ears.
Oh, God.
And that's actually against the law as well.
I've seen that. Yeah.
So yeah, it's all about making the right decisions out there.
Yeah. Well, Nolan, real quick, we're almost to the end. Tell us again where people can find out where this great program is going to happen. Driving Skills for Life, it's called.
Yeah. So if you go to our website, it's drivingskillsforlife.com. Again, that's drivingskillsforlife.com. On there, you'll find all the information about our tour, along with resources, just to make you a safer driver. So definitely check it out.
All right, Nolan Catterberg, we
Great
appreciate
program.
it. Time for me to say I'm Fred Staub.
I'm Les Jackson.
We're going to see you down the road.
Bye.